Kisara runs through a crowd of people and arrives at this dark, empty hallway. She tries to open a door, but it's locked. She looks around and instead enters Shuigata's office. In her mind, she feels terrible that she hasn't been able to cook for Shu because she was busy the week before because of her exams. While preparing the food, she realizes there's no electricity in the apartment. Oh dear, he hasn't paid the bills? Shuigata is downing the food in front of him at a restaurant. The woman with him, Ayano Yugiri, worriedly asks how his work is doing. He looks like he hasn't been eating properly. He tells her not to worry and that his work is going well from a big picture perspective. How long ago did he last work? Just a little bit ago, with the length of our short human life as the basis. Looks like he hasn't been working properly at all. This is precisely why the woman didn't want him to just leave the company like that. What's all this showing off if he can't even put food on the table? Despite this, Shu tells her that he has decided to only do the jobs he's meant to do. She warns him not to cling to the past and have such a backward way of thinking. He needs to focus on the future. This is his life after all. I'll decide for myself what is the past and what is the future for me. Shu replies to her. Then, he makes a dramatic statement about how he will give it all he's got on his own, even if he starves to death or dies in solitude. This pisses the woman off. What the hell does he mean by solitude? Shu has someone. Someone is feeding him, namely her. She calls out his bull and tells him that he won't be dying in this so-called solitude. Before he leaves, the woman asks if she can contact him next time. She can, but he lifts his phone bill. Damn, he hasn't been paying for that either. Looks like she'll be footing that as well. He arrives back at his apartment only to get freaked out by a voice suddenly greeting him. He warns Kisara not to wait in the dark like that lest he gets a heart attack. Kisara tells him that she made dinner, but there wasn't much he could do with no electricity. She was so excited to serve him dinner. Unfortunately, he already ate out. Right. Kisara doesn't want to feel bad about it, but there's really nothing she can do. It's not like she couldn't drop by because of exams. That wasn't a good excuse to starve him. She starts talking about how, of course, he'd forget about her. Heck, she doesn't deserve to live. Not wanting this to escalate, Shu quickly partakes in the meal she prepared for him. Kisara happily watches him eat and tells him that if he has trouble getting food, he should have just told her earlier. Well, that's the thing. She had exams this week. Given that he has no work, Shu feels bad about calling on her out of the blue, even for food. The girl says he's too kind and boops him on the nose. She's touched that he's worried about her, but he shouldn't be too considerate. She cozily hugs him from behind and tells him she believes he can get things done. In her words, if you really put your heart into it, as a genius, you'll never lose against anyone. Wait a second. She suddenly picks up the scent of another woman. Boy. Shu quickly reasons that he was in the city and must have bumped into a woman. As Shu is taking a smoke and talking about how he has to handle his lack of electricity issue, Kisara tells him that she's already made some payments on his utilities. It's alright. She has enough savings to pay for a month's worth of living expenses. She doesn't have any other use for money anyway, so Kisara believes it's better used to help him. Suddenly, a package arrives, and Shu mentions how he should have cancelled it but was unable to do so. Next thing you know, Kisara is crying on the bed. It's all over because they're both penniless. The only way for both of them to get out now is if they take medicine together and head to heaven. Shu refuses to even consider that. Instead, he tries to assure Kisara that he will pay her back. This doesn't comfort Kisara at all. Shu hasn't had work for 3 months. He doesn't even win any of the auctions. Plus, Shu said the same thing for the past 2 months. But this time, Shu is sure of himself. Heck, he pitched in all his living expenses for this month to get a hold of some intel. Wow, what an absolute keeper. With his VR shades on and a press of a button, he's transported to a whole other place. He joins a meeting with the following people: the Ananda Lab Director, Kaya Ananda, the Guts Leader, the Justice, Kennel Animaroid, Dominic Kennel, Panzer Craft War Chief, Bruno Krauser, Jadeite Company CEO, Rob Skyrunner, AAA Defender Co-President, Akino Yugiri, and Anti-Demon Bureau Chief, Masaki Ashiya. Looks like Shu just arrived for the start of the briefing. A man in a suit asks a witness about a perpetrator. The pompous man tells him the guy was moaning about something in the beginning. The man in the suit turns to Officer Morgan and orders him to go ahead, but their conversation is interrupted by gunshots. The squad of policemen quickly come out with guns at the ready, only to be shocked by the sight of a bloodied man standing in the middle of the room. The man in the red suit nonchalantly walks in. He says that because they commonly deal with the supernatural, they have the security to handle it. The man in the dark suit says that if that thing in front of them were human, it would be irrecoverable. But this only seemed to excite the man in the red suit instead of scaring him. Suddenly, the bloodied man starts wailing while clutching his head. A magic circle appears beneath him, and it opens a fiery display. He reveals his true appearance. a multi-armed demon with blood-red eyes. The man in the suit quickly orders his men to evacuate everyone and secure the area because they have a D-hazard. Officer Morgan quickly pulls the man in red with them, having no time for his nonsense. The demon turns to look at the CCTV camera and destroys it with his fist. And that concludes the summary for the case in question. Says Ashia, they have a special request for this case. First, disable the suspect. They don't care if he's dead or alive, it's a Class C demon. And Kaya believes they can make good money out of it. They suspect that he's just a customer at the casino. The justice asks if anyone is injured, but everyone is evacuated, so everything's okay. Bruno thinks there's no problem with pulling off some flashy thrashing, but Ashia disagrees. This is because the other request is to limit the amount of secondary damage. The venue is located in the entertainment district, so they cannot afford for it to be decimated. The deconstruction will have detrimental effects on its surroundings. The venue is also the lowest floor of a building, which means that they can break through into the ocean if they're too reckless. The entire city might sink. Bidding starts now. At the end of the bid, they show the results. The winning bid is $39,800 from the I&S office, which is shoes. Everyone is baffled by this. For something this low, it's not even worth killing anyone. Shu reasons with them that bidding is a free-for-all competition. A job like this is like a simple exercise after a meal for him. Bruno accuses him of crashing the market and affecting the quality of the security in the city. Dominic, who is left behind by everyone, says he's not surprised, given the kind of person Shu's father was. Oof. Sounds like they have history. Once back in his room, Shu says, "Sorry, boss," to the woman on the phone for the front he put up in the meeting. She reminds him that he is his own boss now. It appears that he's collaborating with her regarding the project, and Shu tells her that he will be dealing with the main target. All he wants is backup and some prevention when damaging the surroundings. The woman replies she'll be taking $35,000 on their end, but he tells her that what she wants is over 80% of the bid. But the woman calls it a bargain, especially after all the money her daughter used on him. Turns out the voice was no other than Akino Yugiri. If you thought that surname was familiar when you first heard her name, that's because Ayano is her daughter. However, next time, Ayano would prefer it if her mother just didn't bring her up at all during their conversations, especially since she has nothing to do with him anymore. Right, after paying his phone bill? No one believes that. Shu gets ready to head out and promises to return the money he borrowed from Kisara the next day. As he arrives on the site, Ayano, now in full gear, scolds Shu for being late. He says it's because he took the monorail since he can't afford a taxi. They start discussing the plan. He'll only have signals for stopping and resuming the attack. Every other decision is at their discretion. If they manage to defeat the main target, they'll take the whole sum, which isn't really a problem. Suddenly, an arm starts bursting through the door. Well, at least they're prepared for this, right? Shu checks inside and sees that their target has already summoned its minions. He reminds Ayano to deal with those just as they've planned. As the Hellhounds come charging right in, Ayano and her unit make quick work of them. However, just as they think it's over, more are summoned by the main target. Ayano looks at Shu, who signals to her that he'll be making a move. She and her comrades continue to draw the enemy's attention as Shu comes running out to finally make his move. Ayano pulls out her pistol and shoots at the demon, who manages to repel it, causing it to implode in bright light. This is enough for Shu to get behind the enemy with his pistol, but his shot is useless. It only shatters the demon's glass casing. The demon almost gets him with its arm if not for Kisara coming in just in time to save him. However, it's not over yet. The monster regenerates. Something with regenerative powers would be deemed a B class. A member of Ayano's unit suggests that they get backup, but they don't have the resources for it. But, with the presence of Kisara, things are about to change. With a blade in hand, she charges at the enemy and makes an attack which sends her flying? Shu asks her what's wrong, and Kisara responds that she has no more power. No more power? That was just one swing. Well, they haven't been working for 3 months, meaning they haven't been doing the ritual for 3 months. Shu asks Ayano if she could buy them more time. She tells him to be quick with it as she tries to get the mob off her. Shu wants to defeat this creature at any cost, and to do that, he has to do anything he must to complete this ritual at any cost. Kisara moves closer to lock lips with him, which just escalates. And when I say escalate, I mean escalate. Now, there's Kisara, powered up by their makeout session. The mob of hellhounds is nothing as she goes through them like a hot knife on butter. Shu wakes up uncertain of what happened to him. He only sees a written note on his hand that says, mid-battle. Meanwhile, the two girls start talking. Kisara has no idea Ayano is working in this field, to which she replies that Shu groveled and begged. She's just helping out. Back to back, Kisara remembers the smell of the woman Shu brought home. He fudged the answer, but with the blade turned against Ayano, it's obvious that she's aware that it's her. Thieving cats really do spawn everywhere. Kisara tells Ayano as a hellhound disintegrates from the attack. Ayano shoots a target behind Kisara and tells her that if she wants him to herself, she should have changed Shu on the get-go. The two start becoming aggressive towards each other, but still focus on the task, killing the hellhounds. Shu runs towards them and tells Kisara that he didn't give her power just to cause more infighting. What a confusing sight. This time, Shu becomes the target of Kisara's ire. Can you blame her? Every time Shu goes home, he tells her that he's tired and they can just do it the next day. It's just one excuse after another with little to show. Shu falls on his back with Kisara's blade pointed at him. Then, present to me the proof of our contract. She tells him coldly, and that would be a spare key. She says under her breath, a what? You heard that right, a spare key. Just because she can go into walls doesn't mean she won't appreciate being given one. She lives with him for Christ's sake. At the sight of the spare key, Kisara's face brightens, and she heads back to fighting the actual enemy. And after 10 seconds, the power couple gets rid of the mob. Finally, they get a clear shot of their target, eliminating him completely. Kisara lands on top of Shu and shares a moment with him, saying she has much to share with him in bed. However, the sound of an explosion interrupts them. At this point, Shu realizes that they have destroyed the foundations of the building. Now, it's about to collapse. So much for the reward money, more like reward debt. But that's okay. Kisara, with her blade work, intercepts all the large debris that is supposed to fall on the people below. Ayano is mesmerized by the sight, saying that a B-class demon definitely doesn't have a chance. After all, Kisara, a super A-class demon hazard, is on their side. It's been 3 days since the collapse of the Legiston Hotel, the symbol of Bayron City. Shu here is just staring at his meal of bean sprouts as he watches the news. It's amazing how they can cover up the destruction caused by their mission. They said it was just an issue with the construction of the building. After turning off the TV, Shu looks at the illustration in front of him. According to Kisara, this was all that was left of the demonically possessed. A man wearing a hoodie, whose face isn't visible, is in a dark place. It's odd, but the memory was awfully fuzzy about this one in particular. Shu notices that Kisara is on the laptop and asks her what she's doing. Oh, you know, she's just checking on the fiscal status of their company. Shu doesn't remember asking her to do that, but Kisara makes it her initiative to do so. After all, they're living together. She wants to take care of his health and finances. Shu nervously tells her that all he gave to Kisara was just a spare key. This doesn't mean they'll be living together. Kisara, on the other hand, is worried about the rough patch their finances are going through. They'll at least need a part-time job to help smooth things out. Not only that, but they cut into most of their savings with what they bought the other day. Shu tells her not to worry because it's the end of the month. He'll be getting his pay from their job. Kisara reminds him that the deposit is at the end of the next month. Deposits from government offices are always in the following month. Every job they took in the past was the same. As she leaves, she tries to lighten up the situation and tells him not to worry. But, by the looks of it, they'll be eating bean sprouts until the end of next month. While on her way to school, Kisara is already diligently looking for part-time work. A student with black hair and glasses slides right in and notices that she's looking for work. A redhead follows, asking if she's buying something or planning for a trip. Kisara tells her that she has no room for luxuries right now. A girl with brown hair joins the group and says she remembers how she talks about how her boyfriend's always in financial trouble because he has no money. The redhead notices that her left wrist is bandaged. Is that from her boyfriend? The brunette comes up with a theory that her boyfriend forces her to do risque work so he can repay his debts. When she said no, he slapped her. Kisara should be troubled by this, but she kinda likes the idea. It's obvious that the girls are worried about her, and they tell her that it's okay to reveal what her boyfriend is doing right now. The black-haired one says she won't be satisfied until she gives Kisara's boyfriend a piece of her mind. But the redhead is quick to say that they must be careful because her boyfriend is obviously a violent degenerate, and girls facing that is risky. Kisara tries to reassure them that Shu is a good person. The brunette calls this hopeless codependence. Suddenly, a voice from behind yells out, "No, oh no! We must not allow a man like that around." A sparkling blonde man with a Colgate smile arrives, Mikhail Hachisuka. He holds both of Kisara's hands and asks her why on earth she didn't report this to him. What for? As student council president, Hachisuka believes he is the president of all students. Everyone's troubles are also his. Not just the problems with the academy, but problems with family matters and sour relations too. As the mayor's son, Masataka Hachisuka, and most likely to be the next mayor, he can help solve people's problems. That explains a lot. The girls mentioned the proposal for the swimming budget. Still, this pretty boy blatantly ignores it to turn all his attention to the lovely Kisara. He cannot bear the thought of a lowly man treating Kisara so poorly. Once the train comes on, the girls just head inside, leaving Mikhail behind. No time for that nonsense. Mikhail may be handsome, the student council president, and rich, but damn is he disappointing. He can never be popular with girls because it's easy to get annoyed with him after 30 seconds of talking. At Bayron Sports, Shu is trying to negotiate terms with Ayano, who is busy on the cycling machine. Instead of hiring them, he wants to come in as a subcontractor. Shu reasons that he can do many things and that he's not just about demons. He'll do anything. Also, her eyes are up there, Shu. Ayano questions him about his "I've made up my mind to only do jobs I should be from now on" smirk. Shu insists that Ayano should stop looking for faults in him. That annoying voice of his pisses her off. Besides, Kisara will take issue with their arrangement. Still, Shu, being the a-hole he is, tries to reason that he wants to show how sincere he is by coming to her first and foremost. Man, Ayano hates not just how he talks, but how he absolutely lacks sincerity. It's amazing how he just has this capacity to make it compound. Shu insists that he is actually in need of help and that he has no money. Eventually, Ayano yields and decides to at least consult her mother about him. This makes Shu happy, but his celebration is cut short when Ayano's mood changes upon seeing the selfie Kisara posted online. Its caption, that she and Shu will be living together. But why is Ayano even following Kisara's social media in the first place? The press is clamoring over the 25th anniversary party of the Beiran City municipal government. In a dark room, they're discussing Yoshito Kashima, a Beiran Institute of Technology student. In the room is Beiran City Deputy Mayor Shenfa Hachisuka and Beiran City Deputy Mayor Linfa Hachisuka. All the higher-ups in the government are Hachisukas. What is this? A family business? Turns out this student has plans to commit an assassination at the anniversary party. Ashiya tells them there's no way of truly confirming it, but one of his men at least sees documents of such a plan in this boy's room. Shenfa cannot help but ask why the Anti-Demon Bureau is involved. Their job is to handle demon hazards, not the typical terrorist work. Ashiya explains that Yoshita is suspected to be demonically possessed. The assassination plan was just a coincidence. Ashiya adds that the Securities Bureau chief requests that the anniversary party be postponed. However, Linfa says that this isn't something they're planning to do. To Shenfa, giving in to terrorism counters the purpose of their celebration. The mayor also won't allow such a thing to happen. Because of this, Ashiya proposes that they at least allow the Anti-Demon Bureau to provide security at the venue. Shenfa at least will allow this. Just as Ashiya is about to leave, Shenfa asks for a special request that combat should be kept at a minimum. They don't want the same issues that happened at the hotel. That one, Linfa adds, was a pain to cover up. Outside the room, Aquino asks Ashiya for an update. He tells her that it's what they expected and that Aquino should dispatch her personnel right away. Unfortunately for them, there won't be a competitor's auction. This is because no demon hazard has been confirmed. So Aquino will handle this under the discretion of the Anti-Demon Bureau. She tells Ashiya that she can hire personnel that can destroy them and the city hall for a low price. Ashiya doesn't like the sound of that. The party goes on, and there's Shu in a suit with a headpiece surveying the area. He doesn't see any suspicious activity as of yet. For this mission, Aquino will be paying $3,000 for both Shu and Kisara via direct deposit. This is good news for Shu. A man suddenly slaps Shu's back from behind. It's Officer Morgan Miles, wondering why someone like Shu is all dressed up. In another area, Ayano is also checking for any suspicious activities. Her mother asks her if anything is abnormal. The only abnormal thing Ayano can think of is how she's unable to move properly in this dress. Her mother tells her that she should be happy because this is a rare opportunity where her clothes are written off as an expense, a joy she, unfortunately, does not share with her mother. Across the room, Kisara is happily gawking at the food. She looks around and takes out a Tupperware, ready to bring home food. However, she is ambushed by Mikhail, who is eager to shower her with compliments. He admits to even picking out her dress himself. In the office, Aquino asks if this is the leftover and youngest of the Hachisuka family. Ashiya answers her by saying that the mayor's first wife was the daughter of the head of the Yang conglomerate. The second wife, Mikhail's mother, was a distant relative to the president of Russia at the time of the marriage. This only shows that other countries are interested in matters related to the city. Outside, Miles shares a smoke with Shu. He also tells the details about the case he's currently handling. His boss has been after a certain demon agent for the longest time, though he doesn't know all the details. He at least knows that the suspect is a self-proclaimed activist, but most of his outcries have been on the internet. He didn't have the guts to actually do anything or have the connections to make things happen. He was a shut-in student, but it gets weird from there. He suddenly came up with some terror scheme and then just disappeared. They mobilized every cop in Beiran, but couldn't even get a lead on where he was. While the two are talking, an arcane eye appears right behind them, but when Shu turns around, there's nothing behind them. The officer speculates that the suspect was enticed by smooth talking even when he wouldn't normally be inclined by it. To Shu, this only means what they're handling is just the tip of the iceberg. Miles hopes that if they find more intel, then maybe they'll be able to mobilize before the demon hazard even happens. That's what his boss thinks at least. The image of the hooded illustration flashes in Shu's mind. Unfortunately for the police, they're no match against demon possessions. Miles blames the worst law in the history of Beiran, the Heavy Weapons Act. It's because of this that they're limited in what they're able to carry, unlike those in Shu's division. Miles' attention is then directed toward the screen where the mayor is about to give a speech. They should be going back to their posts then. Before Miles parts ways with him, he tells Shu that he should come to eat at his place sometime. Melissa's been wanting to see him. Melissa? Miles finds this amusing. He reminds Shu that Melissa is his daughter. To think Shu lived with them for about a year when he was a kid. And of course, before they part once again, Shu quickly calls back for him. What's so important this time? He just wants another cigarette, that's all. This time, Miles throws at him the rest of his pack, which makes Shu visibly happy. In his speech, the mayor tells how his father Yoshiteru Hachisuka floated on a city on the Pacific Ocean, the first step of a voyage toward an unclear future. And now, Bayron City is the center of the global economy. Every citizen has a chance, no matter who they are. People applaud this, but Kisara cannot help but find this message to be false. There are still people struggling to feed themselves to this day, aka her and Shu. Ayano tells Kisara to blame Shu for being such a worthless head of the household. Still, she doesn't agree with the mayor's message about how every citizen has a chance of success. Anai watches this all unfold, calling the mayor's speech a deception. People who hope to find success in the city and had their dreams dashed have fallen into this underworld. They've soiled their hands with crime and have a part in the devastation of the city. As the mayor talks about the beauty of the clean energy of Argonium that must be maintained by making sure that the city continues to become an eternal paradise, Shu scoffs at this. Paradise? A place full of demons is paradise? A paradise is what massacred his entire family? The voice behind the eye continues to be agitated by the mayor's words. All he can hear is deception. The mayor is hiding the existence of demons that haunt the city from the citizens and from the world. The eye turns out to have appeared right behind the mayor, fully determined to expose the existence of demons to everyone in the world. And his first move? To kill the mayor with his own hands. Just as Mikhail turns around to talk to Kisara, he notices that she has already disappeared. She didn't. She just has the perpetrator in a headlock, stopping him from putting his hands on the mayor. She quickly pulls him back and throws him against the pillar. Bullets start raining on the demon as Ayano tells the other members of security to seal the venue and not let anyone leave. Ayano quickly rips her skirt so she can easily go after the side demon. However, trapped between her and Kisara, he decides to phase through the floor but is still intercepted by the human agent. He gets up and makes a run through the wall only to appear behind Ayano, but before he can do anything, Kisara arrives to kick him right in this large eyeball, sending him skidding across the floor. "Why are you getting in our way?" The eye demon questions Ayano. "You have something to say against that mayor too, don't you?" This strikes something in her, which allows the demon to escape. Kisara cannot believe what she's seeing. Nevertheless, she continues to give chase to the demon. A man in the dark office is watching cat videos on YouTube when he's suddenly interrupted by the eye demon. Unfortunately, the demon lands right on him, scaring the heck out of him. Thankfully, he's not harmed. He can watch cat videos tomorrow. Shu comes swinging in, raining bullets in this monstrosity's direction. Unfortunately, the demon blocks it using his tail. Kisara arrives to join Shu in cornering this demon. Checkmate! This demon is done for. While Shu has his gun pointed at the demon, he receives a call from his boss, who tells him that they have a change of plans. Change of plans? What does that even mean? Kisara doesn't understand this, but now it seems they're required to catch this creature alive. Shu explains this because he was told that the person still has his human mind left even after becoming demonically possessed. So, the police also want to interrogate him and investigate his background. While these two are talking, the demon is in disbelief that they are acting like dogs for the government. However, Shu and Kisara ignore him. He quickly voices his distaste for the mayor. The man is keeping demons secret from the rest of the world. Worse, he's trying to monopolize the rights to Argonium just so he can get more money. Typical politician stuff then? Is it alright to let this greed-filled city keep running like this? Though the demon has some good points, Shu is more concerned about his $3,000 gun purchase. Kisara, who has more than one brain cell, says it's too much. However, Shu is worried they might not get another mission after this if something goes awry with their mission. The poor demon just wants the two to listen, and for things to change in this rotten city. Sad to say, demon, those two really can't spare offering him a listening ear. Kisara tries to reason with Shu that it's because of his lack of budgeting that they're unable to live their lives normally. This time, the demon cannot hold it back anymore. He clenches his fist and then points at Shu. He questions him about why he's siding with the government when they hid the deaths of his family as well. After this, he leaps out the window. At this point, Shu wants to confirm his order for the gun, but Kisara quickly tells him to rethink this decision just so they can live the minimum of a healthy life. Kisara, Shu says as he turns to look at her. This makes her smile. "I love your bean sprout cooking. Order complete." Kisara screams in horror. The demon lands with finesse on the ground, just in time for the delivery truck of the Bayron Express to run him over. Talk about express delivery. Shu's gun is just right there. Welp, given how the demon has become one with the concrete, looks like Shu lost the need for it after all. As the eye demon is rolled into the ambulance, Kisara asks Shu if their target's words stung him. Ah yes, how could he not feel bad? Especially since he's working for that same government which covered up what happened to his family. Oh boy, 50 cents! Oh well, that's at least 2 bags of bean sprouts. We see a little girl in a cave, calling for his family, but her mom and dad are all dead. Her big brother's nowhere too. Before she can take one more step, a glowing staff stabs her. It slowly consumes the girl who calls her big brother for help. Shu wakes up from the nightmare, still out of breath. He reaches for his family picture, only to discover Kisara adding herself to it. A man falls to the ground after being shot by security. A voice in his phone tells him that he was already warned that a normal human can accomplish this mission. They've even got plans from B class to D class to offer him. The man in the white lab coat, panicked, yells that he wants the most powerful one. As Kisara checks on the news, she sees a citywide outage because of an incident in the power plant. Oh man, the trains aren't moving either. How will she go to school? Shu hears something coming from the door and finds an envelope addressed to him. He tells Kisara not to worry because it looks like they will do something else. Hashia is giving a briefing at the mayor's office about a man. The man in question was classified as dead 3 years ago. This is a likely sign that he could possibly be a spy from another country. They wonder if he's after the technology to refine argonium. This is the most likely reason. The mayor appears clueless. Shenfa reminds her father that Bayron City was built to mine and research argonium. Of course, he should know that. That was literally in the manuscript of his speech the other day. Shenfa continues by saying that their technology for this is the city secret, and other nations are desperate to get it. Enough for over 30 spies to be sent here in the past 5 years. Linfa energetically adds. By the looks of it, the mayor has no idea how big of a deal argonium actually is. His daughter Sai. Linfa then elaborates that one of the spies even lashed out and created this demon hazard, the cause of the citywide blackout. With a demon of this caliber, Hashia is worried that the police won't be able to handle the media shutdown. Oh well, looks like they'll be doing some next level covering up. By the looks of it, Shu and Kisara will be handling way more demons and dealing with many cover-ups. Here's to hoping that Shu learns to budget so that Kisara wouldn't have to worry all the time. That man really needs to get himself together.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.